This is the Aftermarket Radio Network. Hey, Carm Capriato here, the Automotive Aftermarket Podcast guy, and welcome to episode 647 of Remarkable Results Radio, recorded live from the ATI 2021 Super Conference. Hey, as a business owner, are you consciously working toward breaking out of your own glass ceiling? How do you get to the next level mindset, a CEO mindset? In this episode, business coach Mike Bennett discusses a unique CEO peer group and coaching program that he manages. He has first-hand insights into what it takes to elevate successful shop owners out of daily operations and focus on what's next for their business. Thanks to Napa for providing this great episode. Now, it's no secret we're facing a technician shortage. Napa Auto Care is addressing that. The free 2-year apprentice program offers a variety of training to produce a technician with 3 ASE certifications. To learn more, members can visit member.napaautocare.com. You can find Mike Bennett's previous episodes on my website, remarkableresults.biz. You know, what we do here on RRR is an individual experience just for you that connects like-minded people from all over the aftermarket through a shared love for personal networking and being a perpetual student. Enjoy. Hey, warm welcome to Mike Bennett. Hello, Mike.
Hey, how are you today? I'm
great, man. You and I have done an episode before, episode 308, a long time ago, because we're in the 600 range.
Wow, that is a long time. Speaks.
I know, it is, and shame on me for not having you back.
Well, thank you for doing so today. This is awesome.
Yeah, shop owner with your wife, Shelly, Mike's Cars, and you're full-time ATI coach.
Very full-time, absolutely.
And the word very was outstanding there. I get that. We're at the ATI Super Conference 2021 in Florida. I'm having a blast. It was so great. You and I just came out of a keynote speaker that totally blew me over.
Guy was amazing, wasn't it? Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Such phenomenal information.
Want to believe in America again, or you want to really understand the revolution of industrial revolution, the technology,
the revolution of evolution, right?
It was cool. I wish you all could have been here, but you're not. Sooner or later, when you run a business and you run it, for a lot of years, you've gotten coaching. You are in a 20 group. You've networked and you're really doing great things. There's a point in time that the wise owls of our industry say, you got to take it easy, or maybe there's another thing you could do. And you went from working 7 to 6 to 5 to maybe 4 days a week. And then you ask yourself, what do I do now?
Right.
And what I love about what you're doing here at ATI is that you're helping coach CEOs into their next level.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Well, it's exactly that. I mean, there's so many iterations and reasons why shop owners move and grow. But, as an industry, we've done just a phenomenal job of creating the ability to make great shop owners and great shops. And, what that's done is it's kind of artificially placed a glass ceiling on the industry, right?
Yeah.
Because, we've got this mentality of you own a shop and you run a shop and your shop is what you do, which is fantastic. But, like everything, we just learned about, evolution and revolution. Some choose to be more and to push the lid off of that jar and really open up the opportunity for growth-minded individuals in the industry. We really needed another place to take them, mentally and tactically. And that's really to, kind of evolve their game to the level of a CEO, is to really kind of change that focus. Shop owners are so often, stuck in the operations and the day to day and in what we call the what's now.
Yeah.
And the truest function of a CEO by definition, irrespective of the industry that you're in, is really about being, the director of what's next.
Let me just step back a minute to your point. We want to fix cars and we want to fix the business and we don't know how to get out of our own way. And not only fix the operations, make customers happy, but where's the business really headed? There's a point in time where where's the business really headed?
Yeah.
The visionary of the business. And does everyone have the gift to go into that visionary seat or think about what's next?
That's an excellent question. It's, does everybody have the ability to be an A-Tech? Is everybody a phenomenal salesman? Or does everybody want to be that is maybe even the better question. But, just like most things that you experience in life, there's as much opportunity, if the student is willing to grow, growth will occur. And I think that's one of the things that's really, really too important to understand here. Do you have the ability? Are you willing to put in the work, and can you envision a different role for yourself and for your organization?
So when you either created this or they said, "Hey, Mike, we'd love you to lead this new CEO What's Next team," how difficult was it to find members?
Honestly, it really wasn't as difficult as you might imagine. The neat thing, the blessing that we have within ATI is, we truly believe, we truly know that, we're an organization that, involves and has this participation, probably the top 10% of the industry, some of the most forward thinking individuals that truly exist within our industry. So, it really wasn't as difficult as you might imagine finding within those a strong following of people that were really thirsty for the what's next and how can I expand who I am and what I do. And so, believe it or not, it was more of an opportunity of build it and they will come. The CEO mentality began to appear to us, and those people came forward.
And you guys must have realized that this is an opportunity to teach your clients what that next step could be or look like. And I can imagine, I'd love to assemble your entire team here.
It would be fun to have a panel for you. Yeah.
Can you imagine the ideas, all the elixications, and I don't even know if that's a real word, but it all creams to the top. I want to do this, and I figured this out, and I'm the visionary, and I've got an integrator. It, to me, is genius to take your client to another level that they never thought that they could be at, but they didn't know how to make that first step.
Well, and that's really it. It's, one of the things that I think is super important in understanding is, the forward movement in a business, the growth of a business, it's only going to move as fast as the leader goes. It's this idea of, well, we have to train our people and we have to train our staff and, we have to do all of this work with those below us. The organization will only expand to the level of the willingness of that person at the top, their leader, that person's willingness to expand. And as they grow, so will the business follow them. And that's really the crux of understanding how you move, your business and your organization to that next level of expansion. It's really about you and your role as an owner and elevating your mentality to that CEO thinking.
So do they have to, in order to join your group, do they have to be right? Do they have to have moved into the visionary role?
Yeah, a couple of qualifications that we find to be very necessary is one is their position within the business. What is their level of involvement at an operational level? Have they been more of an organizational and strategic leader, to this point? And do they have a solid organization below them? And in most cases have to have or nearly have progressed a true second in command. Part of the ability, as we learned today with Richard's conversation and Chris Chubby Fredericks yesterday, kind of talking about that balance between, the first in command versus the second in command, that leader, that visionary in the business can only be as effective as the organization and its second in command below them to really execute on that vision and really turn it. So as a necessary element, a forward moving business, has to have all of the elements of success.
So the members of this special CEO peer group are not there to learn how to be the visionary. Did they figure out on their own through the other coaching groups, the other peer groups, how to get there? I mean, is this I do or I don't?
No, it's not necessarily. It's a do or I don't. It's like everything in life. It's as much about the journey as it is the destination, right? I mean, we're not necessarily talking about people that we're pulling into the fold that are already in this position. It's really about that visionary personality and mindset.
But they have it.
Yeah, to some extent.
They're there. Yeah. You're not going to pull them over the line. They've already done it through.
No, I would think we've helped quite a few of them kind of walk over the finish line.
Okay, cool. So not everybody has to be at that highest level. I mean, this entire, what's in the peer group? 20 people?
Right now, we actually have a peer group that the current inaugural group, as far as CEOs, is actually sitting at 9 very special individuals.
Cool. All right. Well, that's great. It's a good number. Maybe that's the perfect size. Who knows?
It actually is the perfect size. That 9 to 10 range is something that keeps the group and keeps the conversations and our ability to interact and really collaborate with each other at a manageable level. I love 20 groups. I am so committed to the 20 group program. And I just think it's one of the most valuable things that we can do within the industry. But the reality is when you put 20 shops in a room, that's a lot of voices to be heard. Yeah. And oftentimes, it gets rather lopsided. So this is the perfect opportunity for everybody to have a powerful voice.
So don't you think that when the 20 group moniker was created, I'm going to guess maybe 25, 30 years ago, it was probably the right, there's 20 of us here, we're a 20 group. But to your point, it almost sounds like, you assemble your 20 group in Zoom, there's 20 people on the screen and everybody's got to do their, start and finish and preamble and commitment. It almost seems to me that 9, 10, 12, you can get a whole lot more out of the meeting. You can give more and not have to wait your turn to speak for 1 minute.
Yeah, and that's exactly true. And to be honest, you're almost encouraged to be more participatory because it's more intimate in its environment, and we just find the level of connection and conversations and the engagement within the groups and the meetings, are so much higher caliber.
So I want to go on record right now to say that 20 groups defines the peer networking, but it shouldn't define the number of members. Agree with me?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely agree with that. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I'm in a 20 group. How many people do you have? A dozen. Oh, perfect size. And in fact, when someone wants to join a 20 group, they should ask, how many you have in your group? Well, we have 20, but we'd love to have you 21. Are you really going to get the same out of that? There's a lot of people to listen to, but you learn more in a 20 group probably when you share, because you've got to go on record to say, I am, I'm not, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And then you have to ask a question and you have to sit back and wait for 20 answers. My God. I mean, that's 1 hour right there.
Right.
So yeah, I love that idea. Smaller.
Yeah, it really is. And the context of the program, gives, as I said, so much opportunity, for us to be able to bring, to our CEOs so much depth and reference. I'm sure we can talk a little bit about, the context of the meetings and what we kind of bring forward. But whether we're talking about that environment, I was telling you the other day that, in our off months, we gather together in a think tank fashion, where it's not necessarily the structured peer group meetings where we're really trying to bring content and discussion forward, and really create a focused group, initiative or momentum. Yeah. We oftentimes will do what we call think tank meetings, and think tank meetings are, usually ones where we'll bring, what we would consider, very large, very forward thinking, challenges that we see. As a matter of fact, last month we brought forward the challenge of, a shrinking labor market, in essence, an employment crisis that's really heading down our track, in probably the next 9 to 10 years. And we just wanted to use that as a primer topic. And the neat thing about, the think tank environment that we do, with some of these discussions is, at that 9 and 10 level, everyone is encouraged to participate. It's such a deep conversation, and therefore the quality of the conversation is that much higher because, you get 10 different points of views and ideas and considerations as opposed to 3 or 4 or 5 or just quick little shots.
There's so much more you can contribute when it's smaller. And in fact, you have to contribute. We want to hear from you.
It's a responsibility in this group. I want to tell you, we have some of the most high octane, high performing A-type personalities in this room. And, nobody wants to be the silent Sally in the group. I can't imagine.
I was thinking, who leads the group? I'm sure it's not you.
Well, believe it or not, actually, yeah. My job is it's kind of like wrangling cats sometimes.
I was just thinking, okay, here we go, and there's Brian and there's Joe and there's all these. And I'm just going to sit back and let it go.
There's times when you have to do that. It's really, really great.
So I was thinking of this whole think tank, and I remember being in a mastermind for podcasters. I had a coach and everything, and it was wonderful to go on. And there were only like 6 or 7 of us. It was a tiny thing. And so there was a lot of interaction, a lot that you could have brought, and a lot you could actually help people with, because there was time to do it. There wasn't 20 people. Yeah,
exactly. Oh no, it creates much more collaborative conversation, the back and forth conversation, not just one way downloads, which oftentimes can occur.
So context, I love that you said, hey, let's talk about that. Give me an idea. Do you set the agenda? Do you pull ideas from everyone at the end? Or do you say, oh, guys, this labor thing, forget what we were going to talk about. Let's get this on the table. How do you come up with all that?
Yeah, and that's really been the fun thing with this is we kind of started with the program. As I said, we have, such amazing, strong, intelligent people, but such diverse backgrounds coming to the group and such diverse, opinions, on business. But one of the universal one of the universal things that we kind of, got out of the group initially is just the desire to expand who they are and their ability to be effective at leading their organization, and their company and their people, which is, obviously one of the 4, indelible responsibilities of a CEO, but you don't know what you don't know. And, these CEOs were very, very humble in being able to say, listen, we're not even 100% sure that we know what this fancy title is. And so the context of what we've been working on for about a year is really developing the knowledge and skill set of what a CEO is and really how to operate functionally in that role very effectively. Take it away from kind of the wing it mentality. And what we've been able to do that I think is rather unique is, we've really been able to work hard at, trying to bring outside relevance and bring outside context. Most of our meetings have outside expertise that comes in. We have CEOs that'll come in from other industries to speak to us, to give us perspective. As a matter of fact, in June, we've got 3 wonderful guests on the schedule, not the least of which is, we're going to get a surprise visit by, Jonathan Fitzpatrick, who is the CEO of Driven Brands, who's going to come in and talk to us a little bit about the mindset of an ever expanding business and how has his role changed as he's evolved and driven the company from, founding entrepreneurial status through public holding now. So really neat stuff as we're trying to expand the visionary scope of what we can expect from our CEOs.
Hey, Carm here, and coming up, Mike discusses the importance of succession planning in your business. Hey, it's Carm here to tell you about the best shop management solution for your auto care center, Trax Enterprise. Now, since Napa introduced Trax in 1989, it's been the industry's leading shop management system out there. Today, Trax Enterprise offers even more of the features auto care center owners want, things like a powerful interactive scheduling calendar, faster and streamlined workflow, multi-shop capabilities, easy pay consumer financing integration, and more. That means you can count on Trax Enterprise to help drive your success today and well into the future. The tabbed interface lets you open and view multiple estimates, ROs, invoices, and purchase orders, all at the same time. You can even place windows side by side, over or under, or drag a tab from another application outside Trax to open another window. One auto care center owner said he loves being able to have 10 to 12 work orders open at once. Enterprise also offers a Microsoft Outlook-type calendar so you can view daily, weekly, and monthly schedules, drag and drop appointments between days and times, and block time to indicate length of work. Punch out to Mitchell Pro Demand is another huge benefit. It provides embedded labor, part, maintenance, and fluid capacities that can be transferred to estimates and repair orders within Trax. Trax Enterprise also streamlines parts ordering. Just one click, and it's done. The mobile capture app sold another auto care owner on Trax Enterprise. He said there's no reason to write VINs by hand anymore. You can decode the VIN from a mobile device and send all the information directly to Trax. There are reporting features too. For example, with just a couple of clicks, you can find out how many repair orders you've written in a month. Talk to your Napa Auto Parts store and find out more about what Trax Enterprise can do for you, plus the hundreds of other great things the Auto Care program has to offer. So it's an exclusive club, and I'm doing that in air quotes.
Right.
And it's not like being in a golf club, but an exclusive group that is so committed to the CEO role. I was just a technician. I loved to fix cars 20 years ago, and I got myself up and out, and I'm on the counter, and then I replaced myself there, and I went into the office and realized I haven't done this in a year, like HR, bookkeeping, OMG. And now, and I joined a coaching company, and they told me I'm the CEO. That doesn't fit well in my mind. I don't get that.
Right.
Because I've been just kind of earning a little bit of money. I'm cool. I'm a business guy. I got this really cool new truck I have on lease, and my world is wonderful. But in your experience, Mike, with all the coaching you've done and being in business yourself, is there a point in time where you've seen the lights turn on from guys says, I really am the CEO? You have a story to share?
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. It's really funny. Oftentimes there's revelations come in hindsight, right? Things don't just jump out in front of you and appear to you. Somebody didn't walk forward and anoint you CEO and, okay, today I'm going to start acting that way.
That's right. Yeah.
But it's so interesting, not so much a story. But one of the things that we were talking about Super Conference this morning, and I think this is my 13th year of coming to ATI Super Conferences. So I've had an opportunity to really see even the evolution of the shop owner through that process. And I was talking this morning with Kim Hickey, and we were commenting on the fact that, not to sound like we're, maybe looking disparagingly upon the past as a reference on shop owners, but, in 2008 and 2010, we saw lots of guys that you would describe and gals describe very much as you just said. They've come out of the bays, they come off the counters. They're so good at their skill set and their vocation, that they kind of end up in business, right? But you can still see a lot of that mentality is very much in the doingness of what they feel as an expertise. And, it was just representative of where our industry was at the time. And, fast forward ourselves to today in the last couple of years. And one of the things that we've noticed is, my goodness, as shop owners, we've become sophisticated. We actually are business owners, and it's so impressive to see not only the level of knowledge, but the level of expertise, just understanding of the business concept. I mean, we're no longer, technicians out of the bay and I can jump in and diagnose a car if I need to. We truly are, a pretty sophisticated industry. And as an industry, I think our level of professionalism has just gone up so dramatically in probably the last 6 to 10 years or so. And I just think it's so fantastic as we've seen, the maturity, come through. And I think because of that, this sort of program, which is so near and dear to my heart, just becomes the next evolutionary step for a lot of our folks.
I love what you're saying. You continue to confirm my belief in the coaching process and in networking. Do you believe, Mike, that the work that you've done over the years when you first started I imagine you were part-time coaching and then of course, full-time. I mean, was that your evolution?
Well, no. I mean, mine went from full-time shop owner to full-time coach pretty quick.
Wow, okay.
It wasn't a transition, believe it or not. If it was one of those things, if you're going to do it, it's full immersion. Go in and do it hard.
Okay. We talked about that in 308, and I just wanted to get that on record in this episode. So do you see, and you mentioned the word evolution, from the shop owner, let's say, for example, just 5, 6, 7 years ago, the industry we were all working hard to improve the perception of our industry and the quality of the leaders that lead these companies, knowing that they needed to be a more sophisticated business person than they were, whatever they were doing every day. They go in and turn the key and they closed the door at the end of the day and hoped there was going to be enough money to pay the bills.
Right.
Do you think the industry went from being, that we have a top 10% that are really rocking? Could you say that maybe there's 20% of the industry that's really on fire and doing a great job?
I may be a little bit jilted because of the samplings that I'm exposed to at most times, but I would say as an industry as a whole, I'd actually grade it maybe even a little bit higher than that. I think it's the larger portion because it's kind of that mentality of high tides rise all boats. Yeah. And as the industry elevates, I just think we just create a natural, a natural upward movement of who we are. And, one of the things that I think is really important in it, and it's been, up until this pandemic, one of the things that I think has been, kind of acknowledged, is that within the industry, our competition, kind of, raises the bar for those that can compete and probably becomes the delineator and eliminator for those that can't. And so again, the high tide rises all boats. I think, that idea of the competition, so to speak, post-pandemic has gotten a little interesting with consumers. And I think that's changed a little bit, which is going to push us even harder as an industry.
Is the pandemic going to weed out a lot?
Well, I think from a technicality, it is. It absolutely is. And it's maybe not even so much the pandemic. The pandemic probably accelerated that timeline a little bit. It's one of the reasons, just to kind of preface the statement that as an industry and as an industry provider, we're so excited because, we've known all along that, the vast majority of the shop owners, I'm not sure that I know the exact percentage, but we know that generally speaking, we're kind of an old industry, especially at the ownership level. There's lots of near boomers to boomers, and that boomer kind of idea, is going to very quickly begin to become a reality as we see the attrition of those shop owners leaving the industry. And I think the pandemic in that sense actually did push it along. There's so many shop owners that weren't prepared to do well and survive.
Succession is the word that I thought of as you just said what you said, and a great seminar that I sat through on succession here. That to me is probably the number one class you guys have.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you without a doubt, it's the hottest topic, because I think, it's all, you've heard that famous, saying that when the student's ready, the teacher appears. Oh, yeah. And, again, going back to it from a generational point of view, we've got a lot of these shop owners that we know that they're all of a sudden being faced with the reality of mortality, in the working world. And, you've got to start to think, what does that succession look like? Do I need to plan, am I interested in having a legacy that goes forward? Do I need to be able to look at, selling my business to be able to, fund our retirement, or have it created something that in essence can be an annuity for me in an ongoing managed situation? And
I love that. By the way, let's take that thought, jump back into the CEO peer group, and let me ask you this question.
Sure.
Are you talking a lot about succession in that? Are you talking a lot about number twos in charge? And can you give me an idea of the average age?
I can give you that. So really interesting in this group. First of all, I would tell you the average age is actually relatively young. Yes.
I knew you were going to say that. To me, that sounds like I don't want to be in my 60s and figure out, what's next. What's next is succession or we're quitting a retirement. But you get some 45-year-olds, 35-year-olds. I met so many young people here. I don't want to digress, but I met a young man who just opened his shop 3 or 4 months ago. He's an ATI client. Yeah. He's in the coaching thing. I can't imagine how successful he's going to be in such a short amount of time.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's one of those things that, my goodness gracious, if we could all go back that 20 or 30 years and say, gosh, why did I do that? But, congratulations to him for sure. But yeah, the context of the group itself is, I would say we were, majority are probably 45 and under. Some of them even in the late 30s, which is super exciting. Wow. Now for our members that are, maybe a little bit closer to my age, hitting close to that boomer generation sort of idea, the neat thing is that the focus is still kind of the same. The methodology is slightly different. So, we're seeing CEOs that are very driven on, what is the next 20 to 30 years of my career in this industry going to look like? And how can I drive the highest level of growth and organizational growth that's possible, which is, really fantastic. It's a really neat subject. We've got other CEOs that are really concentrating on, what does that succession look like and how might my organization continue to perpetuate with my role being changed? all sides are working very hard on creating that organizational structure and that really solid second in command. What we call in the truest terms, we call them COOs. Which is, and we really use that terminology for that operational word. These organizations are all being constructed and built, to have that visionary style integrator role. The CEO really being, the director of strategy and direction, and kind of setting that vision of where the company is going to go down the road. And of course, at COO level, really focusing on the execution and the delivery on results and moving towards those visions.
These 9 shop owners that are in your CEO peer group, do they have COOs or number 2s in charge?
They do.
And is that a requirement to get in it?
Well, it's not only a requirement, to either have or nearly have, but it's the other half of what we provide in this program, because the other half of our advanced program is a COO program, where we really are working hard to connect the dots between the two positions and really create the synergy, that as this vision and direction and strategy is coming downhill, really help on the elements of actual execution throughout the company.
Wow.
And so that's the other half of what we're doing.
Would you pull together, a few of these people, your great clients, these great shop operators, and let's do a peer panel one day, a podcast? Would be so cool to hear from this particular level of think tank, and maybe they'd be willing to share some of their thoughts. I love this. I thank you so much for being here. We can go on for 2 hours and talk, because I'm so curious about this, but I think we nailed the essence of what you're currently doing and why it's so important. I love the idea that anyone who's listening says, listen, I want to get there someday. What do I have to do to start? Getting into a CEO peer group that is steadfast on learning how to create or lead a great number 2 and to figure out what I'm doing next.
Right.
I've always wanted to be an artist. Okay, go do that.
Right. Yeah, let's go do that. Learn how to spend some time doing that. But in the meantime, you got a heck of an organization working around you and behind you. And, I will say that it's just amazing to watch, over the last year to year and a half, some of the evolutions within these organizations, as you just see a lot of the structural and philosophical change take hold, and just the growth of the organizations, from a technical point of view, but really from a leadership momentum, and level point of view. It's been fun to watch, and we're super excited to continue the growth of the program. This is not something we're doing one off. We're going to continue to try and connect with those shop owners that are really interested in moving, themselves and their organizations forward, and really getting to the point where they can, drive themselves through the industry, in a true growth fashion. Yeah. So this is fun. It's super exciting.
Mike Bennett, can I call you executive coach or something like that? Yeah. Whatever title it works. That's kind of what I'm taking away from ATI here at the ATI Super Conference.
Well, technically it is that. So we've one of the things that we've done is myself and a couple of the other coaches have really gone through some very, very extensive executive coach training.
Good.
We're all internationally certified now. So
okay.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
I like that. That's important to say, because it's like you weren't born to do this, although you had, if you will, the foundation to lead with all your great experience and all the coaching that you've been doing for years. Then you go get some training. You pull this group together, and I'm sure you're learning every day.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If you're not learning, you're going backwards.
Wow. Mike Bennett, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You bet. Love to do this again with you. Love to bring some folks on, and let's share.
I promise.
Thanks for being on board to listen and learn from the premier automotive aftermarket podcast. Until next time.